Catherine has shocked the royal family by refusing to move into Buckingham Palace, but it's what she found hidden in the walls that's left insiders panicked. Secret passageways, sealed documents, and chilling messages buried deep inside the palace forced her hand. Now, she's saying no to the crown's darkest secrets. Kate arrives at Buckingham, the first shock behind the walls. It was meant to be a quiet transition. After the death of Queen Elizabeth II, renovations at Buckingham Palace were finally nearing completion. Catherine, Princess of Wales, was expected to tour the new private quarters she and William were set to occupy, marking a historic return of a future queen consort to the palace's heart. But what happened inside those walls, no one saw coming. She arrived in late September, discreetly, accompanied by 2 senior aides and a small team of security. The rooms had been recently refurbished, bright, luxurious, polished to perfection. But Catherine's eye wasn't on the chandeliers or the fresh paint. It was something far subtler, a warped piece of paneling just beside the fireplace in the northeast guest suite. When she touched it, it shifted. Curious, she called for staff to investigate. One guard tried to dismiss it as old wood swelling from summer heat. But Catherine insisted, "Don't continue construction." "Not until I know what's behind that." They pried it open, slowly, carefully. Inside was a narrow dust-coated cavity that ran deep behind the plaster. And just beyond the first gap, Catherine saw the corner of something silver. At first, she thought it was wiring or some kind of forgotten fixture. But no, it was the edge of a sealed container, deliberately lodged inside. The box was cold, heavy, marked with the royal cipher of George VI, Catherine's great-grandfather-in-law. She took a step back. "This was hidden," she said quietly. "Not lost. Hidden." Those in the room say her face changed instantly. Calm, yet deeply unsettled. She didn't open the box herself. Instead, she ordered security to lock down the room and keep the discovery off record until she understood what they were dealing with. Her voice was clear, firm. This isn't a design flaw. This was meant to stay buried. That moment changed everything. The secret passageway exposed. While security worked to assess the container, Catherine's attention was pulled elsewhere, this time to the White Drawing Room, one of the most iconic and historic spaces in Buckingham Palace. There, tucked behind a gilded floor mirror nearly 10 feet tall, they found a hidden door. And behind that door, a secret passageway, still intact, stretching from the public staterooms to the far corners of the private family apartments. It wasn't on any of the renovation blueprints, and it hadn't been mentioned during her pre-move briefings. The existence of such a passage wasn't entirely shocking. Buckingham Palace has long been rumored to contain private access routes used by monarchs to avoid the press or political guests. But this one was different. It had been used recently. Footprints in the dust. A lit emergency bulb. Airflow vents still active. Some say it connects all the way to the old servant corridors designed in the early 1900s. Others believe it leads to a secure basement vault used during wartime. But Catherine didn't need full answers to feel the weight of what she had uncovered. The message was clear. This palace was built for surveillance, evasion, and control. Not comfort, not family. She asked the aides accompanying her, who else knew about this? The room fell silent. It was more than a hallway. It was a metaphor. For power. For secrets. For everything Diana had once warned about. Walls that listened. Corridors that spied. And a system built to protect itself. not the people inside. Catherine stood still for a moment, facing that passage, then quietly turned away. She didn't need to go any further to understand the truth. This place was never meant to feel like home. What lies within the wall? Hidden documents or shadows of the past. Once the sealed container was removed from the wall cavity, it was placed under armed watch in a secure room, away from the media and even most staff. Catherine waited until the palace had quieted for the evening before opening it, alone, with one senior aide by her side and security posted outside. The lid creaked open slowly, and what lay inside was nothing short of disturbing. Neatly wrapped in decades-old cloth, the contents included handwritten letters, torn ledger pages, and fragments of old architectural blueprints. Most were aged, some crumbling at the edges. The ink had faded, but the messages were still legible. What shocked Catherine was the dates. Several documents were from the 1930s and 1950s, with others more recent, including scribbled marginal notes dated 1987 and 1992. One letter stood out immediately. A torn page addressed anonymously, marked only with a royal wax seal, read, "Too many know. Shut it down before it reaches the girl." Another note, dated just weeks before Princess Diana's death, had one chilling sentence. "She suspects the door. We've blocked it from her. But the boy will ask." Catherine froze. The girl. The boy. The door. The references were vague, but the intention was unmistakable. Someone had hidden access, knowledge, and possibly danger from Diana, and those same walls now surrounded Catherine. There were symbols drawn in the margins, not just initials but coded emblems, tiny crown sketches marked with slashes, arrows pointing to corners of a map, and faded seals from King George VI's reign. And beneath it all, a blueprint of Buckingham Palace, marked in red ink, showing restricted areas and underground passage routes. One area, boxed and crossed out, was simply labeled Black Room. What was that room? And more importantly, who made sure it was forgotten? Catherine quickly understood. These weren't just random papers. They were pieces of a larger, long-buried puzzle. The kind of puzzle people risked everything to hide. And now, she was holding it in her hands. These weren't meant to be found. Not by staff, not by historians, and certainly not by her. Kate's reasoning: dignity, safety, legacy. That night, Catherine didn't sleep. The walls around her felt different now. They didn't protect. They watched. She'd grown up understanding the monarchy's weight, but this felt darker, colder. Not royal, but royalist. A system built not just on tradition, but on secrets layered beneath gold leaf and chandeliers. The next morning, she made her decision. She gathered her senior staff and, in a clear, unwavering voice, said, "I won't live in a house of whispers." The palace was stunned. No future queen had ever turned down Buckingham before, not publicly, not like this. But Catherine wasn't just thinking about image, she was thinking about her children, her safety, and the truth buried inside those walls. If Diana was right about what went on in secret, if Catherine's discovery confirmed it, then living in Buckingham meant stepping into a gilded trap. To the public, Buckingham Palace symbolizes power. But to Catherine, it now looked like a cage. Ornate, grand, but still a cage. She understood what came with the role, but she wasn't going to sacrifice herself for the illusion of a royal fairy tale. Diana had tried, and paid the price. By refusing to move in, Catherine wasn't rejecting tradition. She was redefining it. She made a silent, powerful statement. The future queen would not be controlled by ghosts, old rules, or hidden hallways. This wasn't just about safety, it was about dignity. And it was the beginning of a new kind of royal legacy, one not built on silence, but on choice. William's dilemma: tradition versus protect his wife. When Catherine told Prince William she wouldn't be moving into Buckingham Palace, he didn't argue. He didn't flinch. But inside, something twisted. William had grown up knowing that one day he would rule from those very halls. Buckingham wasn't just a building. It was the symbol of monarchy, history, and duty. Every king and queen before him had lived there. Every move made inside those walls shaped the country and the crown. But now, that palace was threatening to tear his family apart. Catherine's decision shook him, not because he disagreed, but because he understood. After reading what she found in the walls, after hearing her describe the secret passageway, the strange documents, and those cryptic letters, he knew she wasn't just being emotional. She was being honest and right. Buckingham wasn't a home. It was a warning. Still, William found himself trapped in an impossible position. On one side, he had tradition, courtiers, senior aides, his father, the firm belief that the future monarch must reside at Buckingham, like Queen Elizabeth had for 70 years, that anything else would be seen as weakness, or worse, rebellion. On the other side, he had Catherine, the mother of his children, the woman Diana would have defended with everything she had. A woman who just uncovered the kind of secret that could collapse trust in the entire royal institution. How could he force her to sleep under a roof built on lies? William reportedly told a close aide, "This isn't about the crown anymore. It's about keeping her safe." Behind the scenes, advisors were not pleased. Some pushed him to convince Kate to reconsider. "Remind her of duty," one reportedly said. But William refused to pressure her. Not after everything she'd endured since marrying into the family. Not after seeing the same patterns that destroyed his mother start to form again around his wife. And yet, every decision he made came with fallout. Some insiders claim tensions between William and senior palace aides are at an all-time high. Others suggest Charles has grown quietly disappointed in William's refusal to enforce tradition. But William remains unmoved. His priority is clear. Catherine comes first. Publicly, he's remained calm, projecting unity and support. But behind closed doors, sources say William has been more protective than ever, meeting with lawyers, reviewing palace archives, and questioning how such a secret remained hidden for decades. He's not just navigating a royal crisis. He's walking the same line Diana once walked, between duty and survival. For William, this isn't about choosing between the crown and Catherine. It's about proving that this time, the crown won't break the woman beside him. And if it means turning tradition on its head, so be it. Court reaction: whispers, panic, damage control. The moment word got out that Catherine had refused to move into Buckingham Palace, panic gripped the palace corridors. Not because of the decision itself, but because of why she made it. The whispers started immediately. Staff talked in hushed tones. Aides scrambled to get ahead of the press. And behind every closed door, damage control. The discovery of hidden documents inside the palace walls was never supposed to happen. Even fewer knew about the secret passageway Catherine found behind the white drawing room mirror. But now that she'd spoken out and refused to step foot back inside, Senior palace officials were left scrambling. "Keep it quiet," one top aide reportedly said during an emergency meeting. "We can't let this become another Diana moment." But it was already too late. Tabloid leaks started within 48 hours. Reports of a sealed container, royal documents, codes, even a reference to a room called the Black Room. Some insiders say the palace tried to float a watered-down version of the story to friendly media outlets, claiming Catherine found old maintenance records and unused corridors. But no one was buying it. Behind the scenes, factions formed fast. Some rallied behind Catherine, praising her courage, calling her decision brave and dignified. Others whispered that she was being too emotional, that she was jeopardizing the image of the monarchy. Certain senior courtiers, long allied with Camilla, began planting quiet doubts, suggesting Catherine's actions were a misstep in judgment. One insider even claimed, "She's seen too much, and now they're afraid of what she might say." Security was tightened around the room where the container had been found. Staff rotations were quietly changed. Rooms once open to royal guests were sealed without explanation. It wasn't just Catherine's refusal causing chaos. It was the fear of what else might be hidden behind those centuries-old walls. And while the palace publicly projected unity, in private, there were meetings, constant meetings, press control, legal discussions, strategic silence. But the damage was done. Catherine's bold stance wasn't just a personal decision. It sparked a crisis of trust inside the most powerful household in Britain. And the palace? It was now in the middle of a storm with no playbook, no plan, and no control. Charles and Camilla, implicated or threatened? The moment reports surfaced that Catherine had discovered hidden documents and secret passages inside Buckingham Palace, questions immediately turned to the top, King Charles and Queen Camilla. After all, they were the only royals who had occupied the palace's private quarters in recent years, apart from the late Queen. And now their silence was drawing suspicion. According to insiders, Charles was furious, not just at the leak, but at the implication. "How could this happen under my roof?" he reportedly asked aides in a tense private briefing. Camilla, meanwhile, was said to be visibly distressed, pacing through her residence at Clarence House, demanding to know exactly what was found. The answer wasn't comforting. At least one document reportedly bore Charles's royal cipher from the 1990s, leading some to speculate that he either knew about the sealed container or had authorized its concealment. One letter, partially leaked to a tabloid, included a veiled reference. The agreement stands as discussed. The less she knows, the safer we all are. The letter wasn't signed, but the date, 1996, raised eyebrows, as it was just months before Princess Diana's death. Camilla's name wasn't explicitly mentioned in the documents, at least not in what has been made public. But insiders claim one note referenced her entrance into the inner circle must remain discreet until succession is clear. That line alone triggered speculation. Was Camilla's path into royal legitimacy protected by more than just silence? Were secrets actively buried to smooth her transition? Camilla's camp has gone into rapid response mode. Aides reportedly reached out to select media figures to float alternative narratives, suggesting Catherine misinterpreted what she found, or that the documents were planted by unknown hands. The goal was clear: discredit the find before it turns into a PR disaster. But there's a deeper concern. With Catherine refusing to live at Buckingham and growing public pressure for transparency, any attempt to cover this up now risks backfiring. Charles, already viewed as a transitional monarch, can't afford a scandal linking him to buried palace secrets, especially ones tied, however loosely, to Diana's era. And beneath the surface, a new tension is brewing. Catherine and Camilla's already cool relationship has reportedly soured even further. A source close to the family said, "There's a quiet war now. One represents the old guard, one the future, and the palace knows it." Charles is caught in the middle. His past, Camilla's rise, and Catherine's refusal have collided in a way no royal planner could have predicted. And now his reign stands at a dangerous crossroads. Fight to protect the system, or let it burn to protect the truth. Public reaction and media frenzy. The public wasn't just shocked by Catherine's refusal, they were electrified. Overnight, the story dominated headlines across the UK and beyond. Front pages screamed, "Kate rejects the palace!" Secrets in the walls. What did she find? Buckingham bombshell. Royals in crisis. Social media exploded. Within 36 hours, hashtags like #KateKnows, #Hidden in the Walls, and #Queen of the People trended across multiple platforms. TikTokers dissected every leaked quote. YouTubers posted hour-long deep dives. Twitter became a battlefield of speculation, sympathy, and calls for answers. And the public overwhelmingly backed Catherine. Polls taken just days after the news broke showed Kate's approval ratings surging to 81%, with a majority of people agreeing she was right to refuse living in Buckingham Palace. One viral post read, "Diana tried to warn us." Kate is finishing what she started. Official palace press releases were sterile and vague. One statement read, "The Princess of Wales continues to be a valued and respected member of the royal household. All residential decisions are personal and private." But it was too late. The sanitized narrative wasn't enough to stop the storm. Leaked insider quotes only added fuel to the fire. One aide claimed the documents Catherine found could change how we see royal history. Another hinted at a cover-up lasting decades. Suddenly, this wasn't about where Kate would live. It was about what she knew, what she saw, and what she might reveal next. Meanwhile, Catherine kept silent. No interviews, no comments, no rebuttals, just silence. And that silence spoke louder than any official statement. It said, "There's more to this story, and I'm not done yet." For the monarchy, the pressure is rising. The public wants transparency. The media wants the full story. And Catherine, she holds all the cards now. The question isn't just what she found in those walls. It's what she'll do with it next. Who benefits from hiding that secret? The most chilling question following Catherine's discovery wasn't what was in the walls. It was who wanted it there and why they worked so hard to keep it buried. Because make no mistake, someone went to great lengths to hide that container. The passage, the letters, the plans, and the truth. Insiders are now looking inward, at a tight circle of senior courtiers, private secretaries, and royal household veterans who have served multiple reigns. Some of these individuals held key positions during Queen Elizabeth II's reign, and even earlier. They've kept the palace running not just with tradition, but with control. And control depends on secrecy. One name reportedly surfaced in marginal notes on the recovered documents. A retired aide, now in his 80s, known for handling sensitive transitions during the 1990s. He allegedly worked on correspondence involving both Charles and Camilla's early reintroduction to public life. Was he the architect behind the concealment? Or just a pawn in something bigger? Then there's the financial side. Several of the ledger pages found referenced off-book expenses, including coded entries labeled "de-operations" and "mirror shift." Some believe these were euphemisms for discreet renovations or compensation payments tied to undisclosed staff exits. Others say it hints at blackmail, royals or staff being paid off to stay quiet. And what about foreign interests? Whispers of international surveillance and Diana's final months have long lingered in conspiracy circles. But now, with Catherine's find, those theories no longer feel like fiction. One note reportedly mentioned a foreign diplomat with direct influence on palace security. Another possible explanation for why the hidden passage stayed undetected during multiple renovations. Those who benefit from this kind of secrecy? They're the ones who fear accountability. The old guard. The ones who profit from protecting royal image at all costs. Those who trade in favors, legacy, and silence. If Catherine digs deeper, or worse, speaks publicly, the ripple effects could hit not just the monarchy, but British institutions tied to it. And let's not forget, this may only be the first secret. With the discovery of one sealed container, attention has now turned to what else may be hidden within the palace's 775 rooms and secret corridors. Multiple aides have already been reassigned. A new security sweep has reportedly begun. But here's the problem. Catherine already knows too much. And those protecting the past? They're running out of time. Aftermath and legacy. Kate's bold refusal reshapes monarchy. Catherine's refusal to move into Buckingham Palace wasn't just personal, it became historic. For the first time in royal memory, a future queen rejected the most powerful residence in Britain. And the world didn't see weakness. They saw strength. Her message was clear. I will not raise my family under secrets. I will not wear a crown built on silence. Inside palace walls, her stance created shockwaves. Outside, it sparked a movement. Royal commentators, former insiders, even political voices began calling for a formal inquiry into what else may be hidden. If Buckingham hides this, what else lies beneath? One journalist asked live on air. The question echoed through the nation. Meanwhile, Catherine's image evolved overnight. No longer seen as just the graceful Duchess, she became something else entirely. A guardian of truth. A woman who stepped into Diana's shadow, then walked through it. Her bold stand has reignited debates about the relevance and transparency of the monarchy. Can future kings and queens live in a palace built on buried secrets? Will the public continue to support an institution that shields its history behind paneling and protocol? For William, the moment marked a shift. Sources close to him say he's more protective than ever, more determined to modernize. We can't keep repeating the past, he reportedly told aides. And now, with Catherine beside him, he knows the future must be different. Buckingham Palace may never feel the same again. Some say future monarchs may abandon it altogether, redefining what it means to rule in the 21st century. Others believe Catherine's refusal will be taught in history classes as the moment a royal chose truth over tradition. And if there was ever any doubt about the kind of Queen Catherine will become, that doubt is gone. Because one woman, one choice, and one hidden truth just shook the foundations of the British monarchy. And the echo? It's only getting louder. Catherine's decision to reject Buckingham Palace isn't just a personal choice. It's a bold challenge to centuries of royal secrecy. Her refusal has cracked open the palace's perfect image and ignited questions the monarchy may not be ready to answer. One thing is certain, she won't be silenced. Not this time.